Beau, heading into SEC play, what do guys that have competed in the SEC kind of tell you about what kind of changes when you go into a conference that's so tough week in, week out?
Yeah, I mean, the SEC is a really good conference. Every team in this conference is, going to be a challenge. They're all really good programs. I've experienced playing SEC teams before too. Just it's 1 week at a time. Every week is going to be a challenge, just like I said.
Both through these 3 games, you guys are 3 for 3 on opening drives, scoring touchdowns on those. Just what's been working in particular with those first drives of the games?
I think Coach Drink always emphasizes starting fast, and that's something that, obviously can be big in games for momentum and everything. Scoring on the first drive can be big, so we try to emphasize just starting fast any way we can.
What is it about Coach Moore as well, and just the prep during the week that has you guys so ready to execute on those first drives?
I think we do a great job just, walking through, practicing, openers, plays that we know we're going to start the game with, so that everybody's comfortable with them and we kind of know and we have an idea of what we're going to do on that first drive.
Beau, with Lenoris, do you have any sort of relationship with him, like from the Manning Passing Academy, and what do you think of what he is as a player?
Yeah, I met him at the Manning Passing Academy. He's a great dude. We got to talk a little bit about the game between Mizzou and them last year at their place, and how we were both looking forward to this one this year. And he's a great dude, like I said, and he's an even better player too. So.
Looked like Louisiana had found a little bit of success with some slot corner blitzes. I'm curious from your perspective, what the film review was like for that, and just what steps you need to take to, counter that moving forward.
Yeah, I think, handling different types of looks up front, whether that be a field pressure on the one that ended up being a touchdown or a boundary pressure. I think those are things that, it's good that, things like that can happen, especially when we win, so that we can learn from them, and just talking through those looks, so that they don't happen again.
But when you have a running back like Ahmad Hardy in the backfield with you, how does that make your life easier, and what have you liked from his play thus far?
Makes my job a lot easier. When you have a back that's physical like Ahmad, he brings a lot of energy to the offense too, not just his explosive runs. And all the guys feed off of that. And, that's really the main thing. When you can hand the ball off or check a ball down and, a guy can make a play and you really just make guys miss and yards after contact, I think it's huge for the offense.
Beau, you all are one of the top teams in the country in third down conversions, also I believe tied for third in the amount of fourth down conversions that you all have had so far. What do you think is the root of that kind of execution on those money downs?
I think we get it every week in practice, going against our own defense, which is also a really good third down defense. We've done it all through fall camp, and we continue to do so, during the season. I think just staying on top of that, and Coach Moore and all of the offensive coaches come up with a really good game plan each week on third down. Just finding different ways to, expose the defense's third down game plan. I think it just makes it easier for us to execute.
Beau, you've talked through these first couple weeks about how long you've waited for this chance and all that. So, given the start you're off to and some of the national attention and praise that's coming, is that hard to ignore? Do you block it out? How do you approach things now that some of that's coming?
Yeah, before the season started, I just deleted, Twitter. For both reasons, negative and positive. I don't think either of those can necessarily help you. So just trying to tune out all that extra noise, because in the end it doesn't really matter, like I said, positive or negative. It's really just, the only opinions that matter are within this building. So just trying to focus on that, and just focus on playing football, really.
Beau, the TV broadcaster in the Louisiana game said you kind of have a unique visualization process when you're prepping for a drive or for a game. Can you just walk us through that, and also maybe why that's even more important when you're starting out SEC play?
Yeah, for sure. I think, it goes back to when I first got here, just trying to learn the offense. I would, walk through, pretty much every play in our offense with one of our offensive coaches in any way I can. And before every practice, every game, all walk through every play on that script in the practice, look at, what the defense is scripted and kind of visualize what that is, and just going through every single progression and just kind of seeing it before it happens. So then when I'm out on the field, it's not my first time running it. In my brain, your brain doesn't really know the difference between reality and what you're really imagining. So when I'm out there, it's really the second or third time I'm going through that, and I think that just makes everything easier.
Beau, just when did you start doing that or start approaching playing quarterback like that?
I think last year I really started to do it because at Penn State we had a new offensive coordinator, Andy Kotelnicki, and the offensive play calls were really long, kind of like a pro style, wordy play call, and that was a little bit difficult. So trying to, hear that, have a coach say that play call, or even voice memos. I'll do that when I first got here too, so I can hear the call and then, visualize, saying it back in the huddle, and then doing it on the field. It just makes it a lot easier instead of just trying to think it through when you're on the field. If you can hear the formation in the play call and already know what the entire play, the motion and the protection is going to be, it just makes you move a lot faster and play free.
Just how much different is that preparation when, hey, you might be in one drive, one series in Penn State, to you're out there for every single one? How does that preparation process, how have you seen that change in the 12 months between them?
I don't think there's any difference, just because I prepared like I was a starter at Penn State too, and that was really, key for me, because it's all a mindset really. You have to put yourself into that, and it's made the transition to being a starter, full-time starter, a lot easier because I don't have to change anything. I've been doing that process for a couple of years now.
Thanks, Beau.
Thank you.
Thank you.